Hey everyone, and welcome. Today we'll be talking about season 2 of the show, The Legend of Vox Machina. Fun fact, this show is based off of the Dungeons and Dragons web series titled Critical Role. This season came out in 2023 and starred Laura Bailey, Liam O'Brien, and Ashley Johnson, and the show was created by Brandon Human and Critical Role Productions. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. Season 2 of Vox Machina picks up where Season 1 left off, with dragons coming to attack Iman. Vox Machina is able to escape the group of dragons known as the Chroma Conclave, but must go on a journey to find out how to stop all of these dragons. The Legend of Vox Machina is an action comedy. It has similar vibes to Arcane, Dota, or The Witcher. In season 1, the team barely killed one dragon, so at the end of season 1, when multiple dragons were coming, I was wondering how they were going to fight them all. Season 2 shows exactly what happened in that aftermath, and further shows how they weren't ready to kill these dragons. I was really interested to see where the season was going to go and how they were going to figure out how to get rid of these dragons. I love how in this season we get to explore a lot of the characters' backstories. They give us backstories, but tie it into the present day to show why these characters are the way they are and what some of their relationships were like before Vox Machina. We get to see how Grog and Pike met and where the rest of Grog's people are. We see that Vex and Vax left their father because he is an awful human being when they were young and really learned to fend for themselves, and eventually they saved Trinket. We learned a little bit about Keyleth's mom and got a little bit of insight about her aramente that she's supposed to complete. We learned that Scanlan has a daughter, and we don't get much on Percy, but that's because his background was explored heavily in season 1. A lot of the characters grow stronger when they face these different obstacles from their past and that they've been hiding from. Two characters that I thought really got some time this season to shine was Keyleth and Grog. Keyleth is forced to do her fire armamente, and just when you think it's not going right, she finds some strength and completes the task. I think she's very unsure of her magic, but she is very powerful, and I love how much her magic is growing with each season. Grog, on the other hand, has a sword left over from last season that drains blood from people, and after he decides to destroy the sword because it is hurting people he loves, he is left weak, and after some help from Pike Scanlan and Pike's grandpa, they help him out a little bit, but he has to do the rest himself. When he faces his uncle, he finally realizes where his strength comes from and is able to defeat his uncle. I love seeing these characters grow a little more this season. I was very interested in Vax and how he was being followed by the Matron of Ravens this season. The Matron of Ravens helped him a lot this season, but she's still very mysterious. It was interesting that Vax ends up agreeing to stop denying her eventually and instead help her. She tasks Vax with keeping the sanctity between life and death, but we have yet to figure out what that truly means. All I know is that the matron is very powerful, and it's great to have her on their side. This season had so many blossoming romances. You had Keyleth and Vax, you had Vex and Percy, and then there was Scanlan and Pike. I wonder if any of these will actually come to be relationships, but they were definitely flirting. I'm rooting for Keyleth and Vax, to be quite honest. It was interesting to see them finding these vestiges. It felt like every time they got one, they leveled up. But I think my favorite part about seeing them hunt for these vestiges is that they weren't just like laying around. Every vestige was like a little side mission, and it seems to fit the person who ends up owning it. It was cool that not all of them were in, their world, and they had to take a trip to the Fey world to get one, which shows that there are multiple realms, which hopefully we can explore in future seasons. I can't wait to see the other members of Vox Machina find whatever their vestiges, are and find out how it improves their abilities. The Karma Conclave was intense. Like, they barely took down one dragon last season, but now they're expected to take down four who are working together. I'm glad that they get some vestiges because I was nervous when I saw how fast the Chroma Conclave took down that city. It was interesting to see them attack Umbersell and how, even with all the vestiges that they had, it was still difficult. I love that Scanlan comes through in the end and saves them after he debated on running away and he gets his own vestige back. It felt right that Scanlan did the final blow because Umbrasyl killed his new friend, the Sphinx. The rest of the dragons will be difficult to kill, but at the end of the season, the dragon Rashad proposes a team up, which could help them out, even though I do not trust her. I'm interested to see how it will play out with all of the other members of Vox Machina. My favorite part of the season is when all hope is lost for Grog, who is fighting his uncle, and then Pike and Scanlan are captured. Suddenly, we see the shadows of the rest of Vox Machina, and a crazy battle ensues. This moment for me really showed how much the team had grown because before they couldn't work together in a way that benefited everyone, but this time they really tag teamed to make sure Grog's uncle and his minions were taken down. I just love the growth and how when they work together, the fighting seems like they might get bruised, but they definitely won't lose. The Legend of Vox Machina is a great action comedy with some great fights and an interesting story that will have you waiting to see what's next. I really hope we get a season 3 because as soon as I finish this season, I want it more. If you haven't seen The Legend of Vox Machina, then I highly suggest you watch it. Thank you for watching my video. I would love to hear your thoughts down below in the comments. If you haven't subscribed, please do so you can keep up to date with more of my videos. But besides that, everyone stay safe, have fun, and goodbye.